the Intermunicipal Council. And we've heard from the public through the years about the Moodna Creek. The town of Goshen has a little piece of land in that regard, but there are other municipalities: Chester, Cornwall, Hamptonburg, Monroe, Montgomery, New Windsor, Warwick, Woodbury, South Blooming Grove, Washingtonville. These communities also depend on good quality water, and that Moodna Creek is very, very important to them. I know Jerry Boas has been very vocal here in the past about it and asking us to do things, which we've done. Susan Cleaver is another one. She's on our planning board, but she's an environmentalist. She, too, has asked us to do things. But anyway, this board, we signed up with these other 12 municipalities for a intermunicipal council. Not a decision-making thing, but it's more for communication. So if one municipality can be doing something in their arena, the rest of us will know. Because up to now, it's just this big void. So this is strictly communication, not decision-making. So anyway, we had a signing ceremony this past week on October 22nd, and we all signed this thing. And Neil Halloran, our building inspector, is our representative for the communication. And tonight in our folder, we're going to make a motion to have an alternate. So anyway, that was a good thing. A very, very positive thing for our community. It's also a little sadness tonight that I'd like to announce that Fran Turry died. Okay, Fran Turry is 90 years old. I knew her when I was a little boy, and she was a younger woman. And Fran Turry is one of those kind of people. She did it her way. I hold her in very high regard. You know, she was just who she was, an individual. And so she'll be missed by a lot of people. She was involved with Inspire. She was certainly heavily involved in the senior center, the buildings, and all that business. But she had her finger in a lot of things, and so I give her a lot of credit for the things that she's accomplished. So, so I'd like to move right now then into old business. And Dennis, could you lead us through these 5 resolutions so that for clarity and what we're doing?
Yeah. That's it.
I think his battery's dead, guys and gals.
Possibly.
That's why we get it.
All right, now these are a little complicated, and there was, I think, some typographical errors, which I'm going to check as we go through. But these have to do with the extension requests, if you will, with respect to 3 projects: A&L Acres, Zelinsky, and Traskus. Taking the first one, and I know the applicants are here, you have to follow me on the rationale here. Basically, what's going on, and it's important that the board understand this, is that, as you know, they requested an extension, if you will, of the prior exemption. Now, you have to understand, on each of these applications, there's different levels, or categories, as I call them. A&L Acres is phased in 2 phases. If you look at the resolution aspect, A&L Acres is going to be granted a 9-month extension to July 28, 2011, from the requirements of our local law number 4 to obtain conditional final approval with respect to phase 2. That's a specific requirement to that particular phase. Then the resolution further provides that there be an additional 5 months extension from January 27, 2011 to June 27, January 27, 2011 to June 27, 2011 of 5 months to obtain final approval without conditions as to phase 1. That is different from phase 2, obviously. And the final be it resolved that the 5 months extension from January 27, 2011 to June 27, 2011, same 5-month extension, so that they can get final approval without conditions with respect to phase 2. The reason that it sounds complicated, and it may be to you, is you got to remember, you had a hybrid or a 2-step system in your extensions. The local law provided that we could extend the preliminary approval or conditional preliminary, et cetera, within 6 months to obviate or escape, if you will, the purview of the local law. And then it allowed you to grant further exceptions to that. But there was a catch-all or caveat clause in the law that recites that any and all project exemptions were to expire 18 months from the effective date of the passage of the local law. So what you've got is a two-tiered system. 18 months from the very passage, all exemptions expire, regardless of time period, unless you extend them. All right? So when you extend these exemptions, that time clock runs to the end of the exemption period, but it could be overlapped or be caught up with, if you will, by the overall sunset provision that all of them were to expire by 18 months. So if you follow, you have to give, you don't have to, it's been discussed, and the applicants indicated that they were diligent, if you will, in pursuing the applications. So what you did was you gave them a prior 6-month extension. We're adding now a 9-month extension. Okay, that's 15 months, if you will, one way to think about it. Meanwhile, you're still operating in that sunset provision of a total of 18. The two steps being conditional final and simply final without conditions. That's why it's a little bit more complicated than I think you initially thought, just by giving them 9 months, and there was a drop dead date. And that's from the meeting Monday night.
Got a question.
Those reps are here. Are you with me on that logic? Okay.
I'm not. I
understand.
What about the 360 days for the final? The state law that was...
That has been modified now. There is no more 360. It's open-ended. It's time immemorial, to my knowledge.
The governor actually signed a law September 17th, which...
Eliminate.
Didn't eliminate it.
No, it gives you power to extend.
Power to extend.
Oh, okay.
Extension.
Okay, that's...
But it could go on time.
Okay, fine.
All right.
All right.
So, Dennis, the way you described it to me was we're allowing the 9 months, but then the 9 months after that, it's the 5-month extension is almost a given after the 9 months.
Right, that's our provision to protect them and us so that they have the time to get their conditional final, and once they obtain that, they'll be given an additional 5 months to obtain the final without conditions, and that is our termination point.
Right. So if I'm reading this correctly, and I'm only talking now...
A&L Acres.
A&L Acres, and I'm only talking about Phase 2, we are giving them 9-month extension to obtain conditional final approval to July 28th of 2011.
That's correct.
And in the same breath below that,
right,
we're saying that they have to have Phase 2 again. They have to obtain final approval without conditions by June 27th of 2011.
Yeah, that's their 18.
So that can't be.
Well, actually it could, because that's our 18-month provision.
But now one's Phase 2 and the other's Phase 1.
No, the ones I have are Phase 2 and Phase 3. You're going
the
first and the third.
Correct, the first and the third.
I don't understand how you're going to do...
Because we're stuck with it. We're stuck with it because of the sunset provision in our code, that 18 months from the day of adoption. Again, you'd almost need an abacus or a computer or whatnot to follow this. But the original law was adopted effectively July 27th of 2009. Okay? 18 months thereafter would bring you to a sunset provision date of July 27th of 2011. Am I right? Yeah. No, I apologize. No, I got to go back to this. Yeah, no, but you can't. See, all the exemptions expire within 18 months. I don't care what your extensions were, how many you gave them, or what provision they were, or for what length of time. You've got a sunset provision in the law which provides all exemptions expire.
But I think where George is confused and I'm confused is,
okay,
if you say they're going to grant a 9-month extension to July 28, 2011 for Phase 2 to obtain conditional final approval, and then really 1 month earlier, okay, in the last paragraph there, for the the 5-month extension to June 27th, 2011,
right,
to obtain final approval without conditions.
Right.
Phase 2.
Effectively, you're going to be stuck with the same date.
Well, I mean, but wouldn't we change the dates to be the same? So the first
yes,
one
you
might
should.
be...
But you should. I recommend you should. Obviously, you should be consistent. But in this instance, what's going to happen unless you decide, again, to change your sunset provision, which you have the right to. Presently, the language is such in your code that they would have to...
do. Okay,
That's right.
I'm with you.
Right, okay? Now,
So what are you recommending?
Okay, well, I recommend that, obviously, based on the lengthy discussion the board had, that the intention